Greetings everyone, this is Danny Pang. Today I'm going to be watching a video called Beowulf vs Grendel by Extra Mythology. The reason why I'm interested in this video is because I played a game called The Blood Brothers. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's no longer available. But there was a part of the story that mentioned about Grendel and Beowulf, so I never had a chance to look up the story behind these two. And somehow I found this video that explains the background story of these two. Don't know if they ever existed or are they just myths. So let's have a look.
Myths are not
Myths.
stories that are untrue. Rather, they are tales that don't fit neatly into the historical record, which serve as a foundation to a culture. Under the twinkling stars of the vast night sky, beneath the roof of a great mead hall, a mouse nibbles on crumbs as the last coals in the hearth flicker out. Dozens of men are inside, asleep on the floors and benches after a long night of revelry. They don't hear the ferocious creature stealthily making its way within. Then swiftly, without a sound, the beast covers the mouth of a sleeping thane, blocking his screams before devouring him.
By the way, in Blood Brothers, Grendel was depicted as one of these swamp mud creature. Don't know if that's based on the real story or if they just made that up. And Beowulf was this golden armor, dual blade wielding warrior.
The monster then snatches not one more or two more, but 30 more of them, killing them quietly in their sleep. Then, finally amused and sated, it lumbers back to its land.
Ah, there we go.
In the morning, as the birds sing to announce the dawn, the king Hrothgar awakes and slowly makes his way to the mead hall. But when he arrives, all he finds is a chamber of horrors. Falling to his knees, he releases a great cry of despair. He knows who's done this. The vile beast Grendel.
Grendel.
And Grendel must pay.
This is the first video of Extra Mythology I've ever watched, so it looks interesting. The cartoon style was a bit like the infographic show, and it looks very entertaining, so I thought I'll give it a go. Hope it's worth it.
Thanks so much to CuriosityStream for helping us tell this classic tale. Long ago, Hrothgar, king of Denmark, built a great mead hall as a symbol of the prosperity and success of his reign. It was called Heorot, and great nobles and warriors gathered there day and night to feast, drink, play music, and share stories of their noble deeds.
So isn't it just like a normal tavern with food and drink and music?
But those joys would be short-lived, for nearby another being lurks, Grendel. 20 feet high, with limbs like tree trunks and claw-like fingers, who prowls the swamps surrounding Heorot. It is said Grendel was born when Cain killed Abel, committing the first murder and releasing all manner of sea monsters, giants, and demons into the world. And it's due to this bloody origin that Grendel is said fingers who prowls the swamps surrounding Heorot. It is said Grendel was born when Cain killed Abel, committing the
That's the little creature from the Owl House by Disney. Forgot what his name is. The King. His name is the King. This little creature with the between the giant legs, with the skull, with the bone on his head as a helmet. That's definitely from Owl House. There's a nice little touch there.
The first murder, and releasing all manner of sea monsters, giants, and demons into the world. And it's due to this bloody origin that Grendel is said to resent all that was noble and good. So, when kings and heroes feasted and celebrated in Heorot, Grendel became envious and enraged. Not only did the noise disturb him in his swamp, but he hated the Danes for being so noble, so happy, so disgustingly human. And so, one night, he lumbered from his lair and kicked down the door to Heorot, attacking those within and killing dozens. After this brutal warning, Grendel was sure that the Danes would take a hint and pack it up. But they don't. And the conflict goes on for years, with the Danes continuing to party and revel, and Grendel continuing his attacks, sometimes stealthily, sometimes with a roar, but always ending in the same result: death. News of this tragedy spread far and wide.
And the king didn't put on a bounty or something to hunt this creature down.
For a time, it appeared that nobody was strong enough to defeat Grendel.
Oh,
That
right.
is, until the tale reached one man.
Beowulf.
A heroic Swedish warrior of renown who would not stand by as nobles and warriors were being terrorized. So, he gathered his closest comrades, packed his boat with supplies, and began the journey to the land of King Hrothgar. When they arrive at Heorot, they lay their weapons and armor by the door and approach with great respect. Beowulf then offers the monster-slaying services of he and his men to the king, which Hrothgar quickly accepts. And because Beowulf and his band appear so strong and confident, the court begins to feel hope once more. Could it be that the gods perhaps sent Beowulf to help them? And to celebrate the arrival of such a renowned warrior, and overjoyed at the thought that Grendel might finally be defeated, the king does what sort of started this mess in the first place, and throws a great feast in Beowulf's honor, showering Beowulf and his men with great gifts, and spending the whole night reveling with them. Now almost are overjoyed that a hero has finally come. Some under the hall's roof are envious of the attention he's getting. One man, deep in his cups, stands and taunts Beowulf. Isn't he the same Beowulf who once lost a famous swimming match? Surely if he was defeated then, he will be defeated a second time. After all, no one has ever survived Grendel. But Beowulf is not bothered by the challenge. Sure, he tells the drunk, jealous fool, he did lose that race. Granted, he would have won, except, after 5 days of swimming through the icy ocean in full plate armor, he did get pulled under the surf by a sea monster and had to slay it. In addition to killing 8 other sea monsters he killed along the way. So, yeah, how many sea monsters have you killed, bruh? Yep, that's what I thought.
And they bought it. I suppose it was very plausible and possible stories at that time, when people would believe anything. Sea monsters, Grendel.
That little nuisance dealt with, Beowulf and his company drink and feast for many hours, the air thick with laughter, and also more than a little anticipation. And as the feasting comes to an end, the king, trusting in Beowulf's protection, retires for the evening. Now, all is quiet, and Beowulf's men stand at the ready, not daring to fall asleep, lest Grendel catch them by surprise. Hours pass. Then suddenly, they hear great footsteps in the distance, getting closer and closer. The sound of heavy breathing right outside the door, followed by a rancid odor. Beowulf holds his breath in anticipation, knowing what will come next. Grendel tears the doors off of Heorot, snarling and roaring. But before the monster can begin the slaughter it so desires, Beowulf steps forward and boldly challenges the beast to unarmed combat, one-on-one. Amused at this pitiful, weaponless human, Grendel accepts the fight. The monster slashes at Beowulf with his massive clawed hand, but the hero easily dodges the blow. Then, Grendel raises his leg and tries to crush Beowulf, but instead, the hero catches the monster's foot and tosses the beast to the ground. Leaping back to his feet, Grendel lunges forward again, but the hero dodges effortlessly and punches Grendel with all his strength. The crack of bone echoes through the hall. Again and again, Grendel swings and grabs at Beowulf, but he's simply too fast, too strong, too good. It was about this time that the reality of the situation began washing over Grendel, and it was now he who was terrified. Grendel breaks away and tries to make a dash to the door, but Beowulf stops him, throwing him to the ground one last time, and places a boot on the monster's back. Then he takes hold of Grendel's arm in both hands, and with a grunt, tears his arm clean off. Not even Grendel could survive a wound like that. Still holding the arm, Beowulf finally allows Grendel to leave the hall. Howling and bleeding, the monster slinks back into the swamp and dies in agony. As the chaos concluded, the terrified Danes emerged from their cover, peeking out to see what happened. Oh, could it be? Grendel has been slain! After 12 long years of torment Heorot would finally know peace and joy once again. And feeling hopeful for the first time in many years, they hang Grendel's arm from the rafters of the hall as a great trophy, a reminder of the heroic deed done there, and of the hero who accomplished it. Little did they know that their horrors were not behind them, for another, more fearsome foe lurks in the shadows.
Part 2.
And she will never forgive Beowulf for what he has done. But you know what we've done? Teamed up with the folks at Nebula. And yes, that was...
Well, anyway, that's the end of that video. It was a very thorough explaining of the story, and well, I suppose there's a part 2, but I may have a look at that another time. The first time is the first time I've watched anything by the Extra Mythology, and it was done in a very entertaining and funny way. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It was the storytelling was good, the voice acting was good, and the art style was good, and overall it was. I would like to watch more from this author. So, well, I guess that's the end of that video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.